dispel 3 Conor McGregor myths. Okay, Conor McGregor myth number 1, that Conor McGregor has cardio issues. Absolutely and simply not true. And before any of you try to shove Nate Diaz one up my ass or Floyd Mayweather, you have to understand something. Whenever you're implying somebody has a cardio issue, your deeper message is that they are either not focused or they didn't work hard enough or they could have trained or done more. The human body at some point is going to peak out. And for any of you who are runners of any level, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you run every single day of your life, use a mile by example, you're going to have a number. You're going to have your fastest mile. Let's say you can get a 6.5 minute mile. So then you start running twice a day, every day, and you try that mile again. At some point, you're not getting a better number. You just aren't. The human body, you can peak out. So one of the keys that you want to do in training, and this is a very hard recipe to get to, by the way, but the key that you want to do is the absolute least you can do to get to that peak out point. Now, the least you're going to do, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very intense, but you want to find out how little I can do to get to this result, not how much I can do to burn out and get to this result. It's a real trick, and it's where you got to know your own body, and your real coaches have to really watch out for you. But I offer you that because when people try to say Conor has cardio issues, which is not true, which is a compliment that Dennis Seaver, who fought him, talked about Conor's pace. Dustin Poirier, who fought him, talked about his pace. Chad Mendes, who fought him, talked about his pace. But then some viewers will look at the Nate Diaz fight. You have to look a little bit closer. You have to look at the fact that a 45-pounder went up to 170. That's going to make you tired. It's as simple as that. One thing that comes with size advantage is your ability to wear on your opponent at a much expedited rate. There's also a surprise factor. This one's harder to see. But guys, if you ever find yourself in a match that turns out to be harder than you thought it was going to be, you are going to reach an exhaustion. You are going to reach a fatigue. You're going to have a surprise. These are actual chemicals. When people talk about excitement or they talk about fear, they talk about anxiety, those are actual chemicals that are released in your brain and that will go through your body. There is nothing to create a fatigue more in combat than stress. So much is made of who has the pressure on them, who's got the pressure tonight. The pressure is just about who is feeling more of a stress and is going to reach a fatigue at an expedited rate. So, when you want to tease Conor for getting tired, and admitting he did, in the first Nate fight, if you're a handicapper and parting with your money, you'd better be aware of the fact that he was a 45-pounder that went up to 170 and found himself in a fight that was a lot harder than he expected it to be. By that term, to connect those dots, Conor landed that straight left on Nate Diaz, the same that put every other man on his ass. He landed that on Nate Diaz, and Nate was still looking at him. So Conor went ahead and landed another one, and Nate was still looking at him. So Conor went ahead and landed another one, and Nate was still looking at him. This is the moment when Conor realizes, I'm in a fight that's harder than I thought it was going to be. That's when he starts doing the calculation and going, well, I've really never been in here with a 170-pounder before. It turns out they can take these shots. And it turns out I'm throwing everything into these shots. I was looking for the finish, and it's going to make it a little harder to win a decision. So if you say that Conor has a cardio issue because he was not efficient with his energy, I like how Conor said that. Being efficient with his energy and learning to spread that out, win rounds, win moments, and then ultimately win a fight that's scheduled for 5 rounds was a fix that he made. It was an accurate assessment, and in a rematch, he showed that. That same thing goes for the Floyd fight. How in the hell are you going to pace yourself? And I ask you guys, real question, not a rhetorical, how are you going to pace yourself and know how hard you can go and when to go that hard in a contest that you've never done before? I mean, forget about the pressure and the pay-per-view and the biggest gate and the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, I shouldn't say forget about it. Consider all of those things, but set aside, if you've never done something, if I ask you to run from here to your mailbox at a dead sprint, you're going to guess right now how easy that would be for you or how hard that would be. But it would still be a guess until you stand up and sprint to that mailbox and actually do it and then check your heart. I mean, you don't really know. And it's one of those things that, sure, a reasonable person can reach exhaustion. That is what we're doing. And he was on a 30-minute sprint, by the way, with little breaks in between and a little splash of water, and said, I guess I just offer for you, if you believe that Conor McGregor has a cardio issue, you're not seeing the same thing that I am seeing. Myth number 2, Conor McGregor has no fans. His fans have abandoned him. Well, we can sum this up pretty fast in the fact that they put tickets on sale. I'm in the business. I don't know when tickets went on sale. They put tickets on sale. I help to be one that would bring you how to get them and where to go. I never did it because I didn't know they went on sale. Oh, by the way, by the time I found out that they were on sale, they were all gone. And I should mention that the gate was for $10 million. Now, the record gate in the sport is held by Conor McGregor of $17.2 million at Madison Square Garden. Conor now holds the second record as well. So there's no fans thing. There's 10,000 people and $10 million to say that's ridiculous. And then ultimately that Conor is not a pay-per-view star. We can't prove that until after the fact, can we? But what better focus group than your live gate? I mean, honest to goodness, doesn't that just make sense? Do you have to put on your Colombo rain jacket to figure out that a destination city that people are going to have to get on airplanes, book hotel room for, pay a premium price, in all fairness, get in taxis to get to point A to point B, eat out, take a loved one or a guest with them because nobody's flying in to go all by themselves. Oh, and by the way, they scooped up all the tickets in, and I quote, minutes. Pretty sure that's going to translate to somebody being nice and comfortable at home, going through the ESPN process, buying the pay-per-view from the comfort of their own couch with a refrigerator behind them, you geniuses.